Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk's Impression Show. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Impression. Thank you so much for being with us. If you're new to Art and Talk, welcome. If you've been watching Art and Talk for a while in our Impression Show, thank you so much for your continued support. On Art and Talk, we support the arts and we support artists by providing quality artist interviews for you to enjoy and also to be inspired by their journey, by their art, by their message and their process, and then to take that information to apply in your life in new, exciting, and creative ways. All right, so if you are a ballet lover or an aspiring dancer, you're going to love this show today. Our guest is the founder and director of Paris Ballet and Dance, and we'll be exploring his passion and his innate love of dance, and we'll be looking at a couple performance photos as well. All right, again, thank you for being with us. Let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Jean-Hugues Feray. Hi, Jean-Hugues, welcome.
Hello, thank you so very much for having me.
Oh, we're delighted to have you on our platform. And I know you are a vibrant and wonderful addition to the South Florida arts and culture community. So just wanted to straight away thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I would love to open up our conversation, Jean. Can you take us back to some of your background so our viewers can get a little bit of idea of your origins with dance? I know that your professional training began at 9 years of age, and then at 10, you had an audition that was wildly successful. Can you take us back to those initial years?
Yes, absolutely. So I will take you back to France to begin with, because that is where I am from. I am a native of France. I moved to the United States about 20 years ago to dance as a professional. But yeah, it all started in France when I was 9. I went to see a performance, a spring performance of one of my childhood friends who was dancing in the end of the year spring performance, and got in the theater, saw the performance, and completely fell in love at 9 years old. And it clicked in my head, and I was like, this is what I need to do. This is my calling. I am going to be a dancer. I might be a professional. I want to try to become a professional dancer right on that day. So right after the performance, I talked to my mother and my father, and I said, I really want to try and start taking ballet lessons. So they automatically enrolled me in that same school. It was a local ballet school in my hometown in France, in Normandy. Um, and I started the next fall to take classes. And very quickly, the teacher, the director of that school, um, asked my parents to meet with her. And she said, he has a lot of potential to maybe become a professional. He needs to try for the Paris Opera Ballet School, because that's the right age for the boys. They start like accepting them in the school around 9 or 10. So that's what we did. And little did I know that I was on my way to Paris a few months later, maybe a year later, after a year of training, to audition for the Paris Opera Ballet School, where it was already very competitive at the time. I remember there were about 250 boys that auditioned, and they only accepted 6 in the school out of the 250. So it took off from there. I started, training there, and later on joined the National Conservatory of Paris, where I graduated with a first prize in ballet, which was a very high honor at the time in the 80s to receive this prize. And then the rest is history. I continued and became a professional. But yeah, that's how it started.
And through the 80s and the 90s, there were also some major unfoldments and doors opening for you, collaborations with world renowned choreographers, many leading exciting roles. Can you tap us into, Jean, some highlights of those 2 decades?
Yes, of course, there are a few. It's hard to select them, but after graduating from the National Conservatory of Paris, I started getting offers because it's like an exam, the first prize. It was called the first prize, like event, and it's on stage in like the same conditions as a performance, and we do like 2 different solos that are classical from the classical repertoire solos. They're called classical variations. We have to do two that are imposed that we have to perform. And it's on stage in front of a jury, like judges of professionals in the ballet world. And there are also some directors of companies that just come and watch the dancers because they're starting to maybe recruit or see who they would be interested in. So I had offers after that event. After getting the first prize at the conservatory, I started getting offers in Scotland at the time. But I didn't want to go abroad yet. I didn't know I would move to the United States at the time, but I wanted to stay in France. I was still young. I was 16 years old. So I got an offer for Scotland, and then Rodolphe Nureyev, who is a big name. If you have Baryshnikov and Nureyev, like that's basically the two major ballet dancers of last century. I was looking for dancers for his Cinderella performance in Naples, Italy. So I ended up auditioning for that. I ended up being alone at the audition with my teacher and him watching me. And he offered me a job to go for 3 months in Naples, Italy, to be part of the Cinderella production he was putting together there. So that was one of the huge highlights of the first kind of like professional contracts and introductions to the professional ballet world. And then there was different companies that offered me contracts in France. I started with Roland Petit. It's the French National Ballet in Marseille, in the south of France. I got a contract there. Pierre Lacotte, actually, his name is. And that's the other French national company that was, a big major ballet company back in the day. And I got hired, and that's where I stayed the longest for like 7 years and did a lot of lovely productions and was able to be cast as a principal dancer or a soloist. And we went to the Bolshoi in Russia, in Moscow. We danced on that prestigious stage. So there was a lot of incredible opportunities that I didn't even think would come my way at the time. So.
Very exciting. So now I believe it's 2000, you moved to the United States. You were invited by Ballet Florida. Can you touch upon that? And then let's move into your school and conservatory, Paris Ballet and Dance, and what that's all about.
Yes, of course, of course. Before coming to the United States, actually, there was another major company, the other French National Ballet of Marseille, that had a different director that hired me for 3 years. Marie-Claude Pietragala, that's her name. She was a big famous ballerina in France. She still is. Principal with the Paris Opera Ballet, and she then directed the French National Ballet. So I worked with her for 3 years. And then I came to the United States. I always had kind of like a fascination for the US, to be honest with you, as a child. Just the fact that this country is so big and has so many opportunities, and the size of the country, like in geography, for me was fascinating. And I always was attracted in a way. So I came on vacation several times in the summer when I was young. And then just the opportunity came. I knew another dancer who danced with American Ballet Theater, who was at the time with Miami City Ballet, that I was in contact with, that told me they were looking for male dancers at Ballet Florida. And that would be a good possibility for me if I wanted to just get on the plane and come to audition. And that's what I did. 3 days later, after she offered that, I was on the plane flying to Florida. And I went to the audition, and I had a private audition with Ballet Florida with Marie Hill, the late Marie Hill, who founded and created Ballet Florida. That means I took the class with the company. It was not like a general audition where everybody comes and tries out. It's like private audition. So I just came in one day. They had company class in the morning, and I took the class with them, and that's how I got the contract. And I was just there from France 3 days before, and she goes, "When can you start? Can you start in August?" And that was like about mid-June or so. So I was like, "Oh wow!" So that means I have to go back to France and then move, and so that happened very quickly. And for me, it was incredible, that opportunity, because I felt like I had done quite a lot in France. Not that I wanted to leave France, but I was still young at the time. And I felt like, if this is offered to me, I have to at least try. I can always come back if it doesn't work out. France is not going to fly away. it'll always be there. So at least I have to go and try, and I did. So a month and a half later, I was back on the plane and I moved here.
And then you took all of your experience and you decided to move in the direction of sharing your wisdom, sharing your gifts, sharing your talents in Paris Ballet and Dance. Tell us about that and the services that you offer and kind of giving us an overview.
Yes, so there was 10 seasons with Ballet Florida, so that was a long ride for a dancer, to be in a company for 10 years and do 10 consecutive seasons is a big deal. And I'm very grateful for that, for the fact that they trusted me for this long. And then when it was time to move on, that's another thing that was always in the back of my mind or my head, is to have a school one day. Even as a younger person, even as a teenager, I was fascinated by teachers and the way they were able to just pass on this passion. And I was like, wow, I hope I can do that one day, or I will try to do that, because it's not always, you can be a great dancer, but you're not going to necessarily be a teacher. You have to be a teacher in your soul, in your heart. That doesn't mean you can't teach, but you really have to want that, because it's a huge commitment for the next years to come. So after those 10 years at Ballet Florida, the opportunity came along to start the school. And I started in Jupiter. At first, it was in Abacoa in the town center. Started with one bay, one location, started with one studio. The people there were very helpful, as far as the lease went and everything. And it was just fantastic for me to start in that area, because there were a lot of families there. And it just took off very quickly. I actually was surprised to see, the first year I had almost 100 students by the end of the school year. I started in August, and by Christmas I had about 50. And in June of that year, like the following year, school year, we had 95 or 100 students. So I was actually surprised. I thought it could be maybe successful and that there was something to do with it, but it took off quicker than I thought, to my surprise. But at the same time, I got very excited about the whole thing. And that started back in 2009. Yeah.
Jean, I think this would be a perfect moment. Let's look at a few performance photos. Give me just a moment and okay.
Yes, that's actually the school. That's my Paris Ballet students. That was spring performance of 2021, I believe. Yes, and that is a pose from the ballet Midsummer Night's Dream. That is a great ballet to recreate for students, because you can play with a story and you can play with all the different roles. You can even incorporate younger students with fairies, and these are like older students. Some of them are pre-professionals. And we did that. That was at the Crevice Center in the Rinker Playhouse. And we did that a few years before as well. So it's always a nice ballet and thing to bring back. It's always an audience favorite.
That's beautiful. All right, let's move on to another one. Okay.
That is more recent. This is from Cinderella, that we just performed last May at the Crevice Center on the main stage. That was actually the 12-year anniversary for Paris Ballet. That was supposed to be 10-year anniversary in 2020. But of course, with the pandemic, everything closed. So we could not perform, but we stuck to it. And we were able to bring it back just this past May in 2022, yes, at the Crevice on the big stage. And it was amazing. The dancers were thrilled, obviously, to be able to dance on that stage. And it was fun memories for me, because I danced a lot at the Crevice with Ballet Florida as a professional. So it was a full circle for me to bring my students there, because I have still a very great relationship with the Crevice Center. So it was just fantastic. And I had two major ballet stars that came and closed the show for us, because it was like a gala almost, because it was the anniversary. So it was very, very special.
Right. Let's look at, we have one more final one.
That's also the same performance. That is Cinderella. This is the first act. Yes. The opening, basically at the beginning, when Cinderella is, in her home, tormented by her stepsisters and stepmom. And that's the same performance in May at the Crevice Center for the anniversary.
Jean, I have a couple of questions that I think our viewers might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
With your vast experience, knowledge, as a teacher, with your many students, I'm wondering if you can tap us into some of the challenges that you helped your students overcome. What were some of the challenges? And then if you could also bring us into moments where, with all the dedication and the hard work, on and on with your students, when they cross that line between student and professional.
That's a great question. Thank you. Well, challenges, I mean, there's always going to be challenges, it's just life. And of course, the latest that I can think of is the pandemic, to be able to drive all these students through it, when all of a sudden, like, everything like just shut down, and they were unable to go to school. They were unable to go to ballet. I mean, in Florida, we didn't close for so long, so we were able to start that summer, with restrictions and things. But I would say a big challenge for them and myself, was this whole like transition online and this uncertainty. And I was trying to picture myself at their age back in the 80s, trying to tell myself, what if you had to go through that when you were a teenager? How would you have felt? I was trying to put myself in their shoes, because we didn't have internet, so we wouldn't be able to like connect with our teachers online. So that was a plus, I thought, if we can say plus, talking about a pandemic. But all these things came through my head and my mind, and I was trying to be there for them. And like just like we're talking now, I was teaching just like that on Zoom, and it was tough, but at the same time very rewarding to see all of them be on every night, because I kept the same schedule that I had physically at my school, to try to give them that, keep for them that sense of normalcy, that they could just sign on to the class at the same time they usually go to the studio after they do their schoolwork at home. And the parents were very thankful. Many of them, were very thankful about that, because they give them a schedule. They kept a schedule, and they were excited to sign on and hear the music and hear my voice. And they would tell me, it's so comforting to hear your voice. And I'm like, well, it's very comforting to see you and hear you as well, and see that you're okay, and give them the pep talks after each class, like, we're going to get through this, just it's just temporary. And even though it lasted longer than everybody thought. And so that taught me a lot on their resilience. And because ballet, you need space. Dance, you need space. If you teach piano, at least you can sit at a piano, and teach your student, but they don't need to move around. So we were also very restricted on what we could do to keep a dancer in shape, in physical shape, and artistic shape. Like, there's nothing like live interaction when you teach. Like, I'm very lively when I teach. So it was a big challenge also to try to get that across the phone, the video, or the computer. But they were there. And even though when I could sense some of them would kind of drop a little bit, or lose attention, I would just say, hey, we're just we got to keep going. And they would come right back to their full desire. And that was honestly the biggest challenge that I can remember, that's so recent for me, still so fresh in my mind. Yeah, that was something. And I think that after going through this, we're like, okay, I think we can pretty much do anything. When life throws things at us like that, we just proved that. And not just us, like, if you look at the world, what people did, just the fact that going on Zoom and learning how Zoom works for like 10 days before doing it, and then the little rewards from that, and then the incredible reward to get back together at the studio after being apart. We used to sit together apart. We're apart, but we're still together. And it was, it made us realize how lucky we are every day to, first of all, to dance and to teach, or to dance as far as they're concerned, they're dancing, and realize that they're healthy enough to do it, and they have families that can support them to do that. And the families, the parents who stayed, who kept with us and supported us on all levels, like with their kids in classes every night on Zoom, but like tuition, everything financially. This is incredible for me. I didn't think that could be possible, and it was. So that tells me how much, resilience they have, and respect for what they do and for their school. And that was very rewarding to me, and very humbling. And then you had another question, I believe, with that, right?
That defining moment that I imagine you must have experienced many times. Um, that defining moment, Jean, where a student of yours has now crossed that line from student to professional. Can you just give us one or two examples of that, and that excitement?
Yes, there are a few that have crossed that lines now. And it's, of course, it's incredible when you form a pro to be able to help somebody get to that level too. I mean, it's incredible, and it's gratifying, and you get proud. But honestly, it's just as gratifying when you see a student that, get successful, like is successful in studies, like in their studies, and move on to college. Even if they're going to go dance in college, might not be in a professional ballet company, but they're going to go to college and dance, or do whatever they need to do that makes them happy. And the reason I'm saying that is because the training and whatever we teach them, it's not just ballet, it's not just dancing, it's not just the technique, it's not just the artistic, it's the commitment that it takes to be a dancer, or even as a young person, when you're a serious dancer, even if you're not going to be a pro. Most of my students, like basically all my students, are very serious. They come several times a week. They commit to performances. That means they have to rehearse every Saturday, 3 months before. They block their Saturdays to be at rehearsal, and they are on time. They are ready. They say goodbye, hello, thank you, please. All these little things. Ballet teaches all of that. And basically, for me, if I know they're going to be set, whatever they choose to do in their life, I know they're going to be set. They'll be okay, because ballet brings so much to the table and to an individual in general. And it teaches you to be humble too, because it's hard, it's difficult, and it's tough. And I am tough with them too, because you don't get results also by being just like too nice. It's not like not being nice, but it's just being tough. I think that's the right word. Tough love. But and then, of course, if they become professionals, then especially if that's what they want, because I tell them, make sure that is what you want, because it's a difficult career. It's very competitive, even more so nowadays. Dancers are very good, very young now, and there is a lot of competition, even for men. There are more male dancers, which is great, than there were in my time. And so whatever they decide to do is amazing to me. And when they become professionals, of course, I'm like the like a proud parent almost, because I helped them through this for years, and then all of a sudden they found this passion, and I gave them that little virus, if we can say so. But that's a good one, this one. And yeah, so I have a few who did make it. There are a few different ones. I have one in Houston Ballet in the school. I have one in the Dutch National Ballet Academy. I have one at the Sarasota Ballet School. I have one that is with the Cincinnati Ballet now as a pro. So, of course, I'm very pleased. But when they go to college and have wonderful lives after that, even parents, like not so long ago, a parent sent me an email thanking me, and his daughter went into like medical, pharmaceutical or pharmacy, like a very good good level in that field, and she is so happy, and he thanked me because she's so good at what she does, and he knows that comes most of it comes from ballet, so I was very thankful. So if you see, I guess you see what I mean. It's just not just if they become ballet dancers, it's just the difference that we're able to make as teachers, overall.
I love that. Jean, we need to move into wrapping up the show. I know in terms of your calendar of events, you
Yes.
just had auditions for the Magnifique Winter Intensive. Are the auditions still open, I believe, by video submission?
Yes, they are. This is a great winter intensive ballet program that I created in 2018 in collaboration with the Kravis Center. So it's at the Kravis Center. And we just had an audition on October 9th, a physical audition at Kravis, but we still are taking video auditions. So they can also come at Paris Ballet in person. They can come and take a class just to audition, and I'll just like see them and be able to accept them in the program. We usually do not like reject anyone. We just want to make sure they have a little bit of training so they won't be lost completely. But it's really not about not accepting somebody. It's to give the entire dance community an opportunity to dance for 5 days during winter break with mega stars. They're all aiming from France. I'm the director, so I teach too, but I have a few other teachers that had incredible ballet careers. They're all from France. That's the whole deal about this, is to have École Française, the French School of Ballet, for 5 days in West Palm Beach, and bring that knowledge to students that might be hungry for more styles, and just like get better and take advantage of such a thing. So yes, we're still accepting applications and auditions for that.
Sounds like a fantastic opportunity. And will there be a final performance?
There is we do, it's not really a performance. It's at the end of this program, Winter Intensive, it's a 5 day program, Monday through Friday, December 26th through the 30th, 2022. And on the 5th day, we do like a little presentation for parents and friends and whoever wants to come on what they did. Like we showcase what they did all week. So we do like a little presentation. It's on one of the stages at the Kravis, on the person hall. So it's fun. They're on stage. So yeah, I mean, it's really recommended. It's a great program, and we have other shows coming too. We have the Nutcracker in November, big production of the Nutcracker at the EC Campus Theater, November 19th and 20th, at 12:30 and 6:30, 2 shows a day, 12:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale already at the EC Campus box office in Palm Beach Gardens. And then spring performance in May and June at the Kravis. So we have a lot of great things coming up.
Yes, yes, exciting
Yeah.
events now, and then moving into early 2023.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
We do need to move into closing the show out. Do you have any final comments that you'd like to share with us?
Well, just thank you again for having me today, and for helping, to just share the passion of ballet and dance with audience. It's always very appreciated. And any thoughts? Yes, like I hope students and young teenagers, children, we continue to do arts and take arts and whatever it is, dance, ballet, music, musical theater. I think we never push that enough, and it's always a great thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes.
And if people are interested, we have a website, www.parisballetdance.com, with all information. We're always happy to welcome people and have them do try classes, and yeah, it's a lot of good things going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jean, it has been such an honor to connect with you. Wishing you much success with Paris Ballet and Dance and all your endeavors, and moving, of course, into 2023 as we approach it, and success with the Nutcracker coming up next month, and also with the Magnifique Winter Intensive. Very exciting. Thank you for those opportunities that you host here in South Florida.
Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it, and good luck to you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching Art and Talk's Impression Show. Please stay connected with us on our YouTube channel. Please support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos. You can also stay connected with Art and Talk on Facebook and also on Instagram. And as always, we'll talk soon on the next impression. Until then, be well and be blessed.